y'all, come on in. It's great to see you.
We have our own soap today from Adopted Acres Soap Company.
It's a Christmas morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
We are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, y'all, come on in. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Welcome to our first episode about our very own collaboration. But first, if you happen to be here during the live premiere, come on in the live chat, meet the Whiff Pack, won't you? A cool group of folks from all over the world hanging out. They'd love to meet you, too.
They would. And for our mention today, we wanted to show you one of the gifts that Marcus got for his birthday, the Admiral Bowl from Captain's Choice.
Y'all, they make some of my all-time favorite bowls. That aquamarine one in copper that you've seen on the show a bunch, and we recently got the polished one. Well, y'all, I bring you glad tidings of great joy because we have, to our knowledge, the very first brass shaving bowl out there. And y'all, look at this masterpiece. Y'all, Captain's Choice, the only thing we can say is that you are not charging enough for these, y'all. These come in around $75. Unbelievable. And there is another copper one due out very much like this one in January. You will see its very first lather being made here on the show today, y'all. And thank you for making such amazing handcrafted tools for our shaved end. They make a difference and they make me feel even more special when I'm standing there in front of the shaving mirror. Thank you guys. And their soaps are unreal. They sent us a couple of samples. Stay tuned for future episodes. And what is our soap today?
Our soap today is actually our first collaboration soap with Adopted Acres.
Yeah, I was just on the phone with Doug Layton. I was telling him this idea we had for a Christmas set, and he ran with it. I had no idea he was going to do this, but the next thing I knew, we had a soap and an EDP sample sent to us in the mail. How do you like this for a first draft? And we said first draft. I think you nailed it, y'all. Let's meet the soap. All right, y'all, so from the sales page at the forthcoming Adopted Acres website, this is the scent description that we wrote on our walk today. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the farm was a scent full of comfort, nostalgia, and charm.
The cookies and milk by the chimney with care, both the buttery dough and the chocolate are there.
The icy cold milk sits beside them because it's the beverage of choice for our dear Santa Claus.
When the fire's gone out and the waiting gets serious, the lingering smoke is both dark and mysterious.
And settling into our big favorite chair, the bass notes of leather and suede might be there.
And finally, what would a Christmas night be without beautiful spices of evergreen tree?
We thank you for spending some time with us here. Our dream is so new, but it's becoming clear
that our special needs kids might be special soap makers, with you as our family at Adopted Acres.
And to all of you who've helped us get it right, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. So, y'all, let's review. Cookies and milk, hot cocoa, frosted fir, burnt embers. And I am happy to say that when we first smelled this, it was so far beyond my initial expectations, we were absolutely blown away. Let's let this out of the box. We're going to put it in this box so we can pretend to take it out of the box. All right, here we go. Let's see what we've got in there. Oh, there's a look. I know, we already know what it looks like.
Look at all the pretty label action here.
And this is what the first draft of the full-size label looks like. And then he did send us an EDP so that we could experience the scent in its purest form. Woo! So, y'all, we have been waiting to try to describe this one for you. Let's have a current impression. All right, so let's do this. Let's kind of open it and smell it and kind of pretend like we're smelling it for the first time, even though we're pretty familiar with it.
I tried not to smell it too much this last week or so because I did want to dive in a little more open-minded for you.
Okay, here we go. Oh. All right, y'all, right out of the box, I don't get the scent notes. I get a vibe, which is the hardest thing in the wet shaving world to create. I get the room, I get the experience, I get a memory that is associated with this. It's a place, and I am there for it. Once you dive down into the scent notes, you can find them, to be sure. But what I love best about this is its strength of character, that so far in this journey, I have smelled nothing like it. My brain first went to the first time I smelled The Big Top by Peter Chikalis from Ariana and Evans. What they did to the circus is unbelievable. unbelievable because it was a perfumer's version of it that just elevated it and made it so much more beautiful without losing the actual real characteristics of that vacant lot 1899 circus. Y'all, when my brain first experienced this, it was that same thing. It was, this is not a candle maker's balance. This is a perfumer's balance. And the personality that has come forward is so complete and so real that I don't even need to look for the set notes, y'all. This was so far beyond my expectations. And I guess what I love best, it didn't jump out at me as cookies and milk, even though that was the nexus of the idea. Mm-hmm. It's way more than that. What did you get on your first whip?
Let me do a re-whip here. I've been trying to wait just to check. There's just this fun, like if I had to go for the emotion side for me, there's something that's just nostalgic and heartwarming and you can't help but smile. Right. But like all the good memories that are associated for me with the holiday, like the night before, the excitement of Christmas Eve, right. Looking forward to Christmas Day, like it just has a fun lens. Like yes. I feel like there is something, I don't want to say adult about it, but there's a mature side to it as well as a more playful side. So if you want to take the lens of an adult looking on your kids enjoying the holiday, I feel like you can. If you want to be the inner kid in you looking at the holiday, I think both of those sides are here, which is super, super fun.
And for me, this painting is dense and complex without getting too bassy. It's mid notes, it's light notes. There are a thing or two in the bass, but nothing too grounding, nothing too dark, nothing too spicy, which with smoke would have been easy to do, which with evergreen would have been super easy to do. But y'all, he has picked up a whip and a chair and tamed both of those scent notes, so they are in a perfumer's characteristic here, which means they bind with all of the other scents so beautifully. Mm-hmm. And I think part of the magic is you've got this gorgeous perfumer's evergreen that's mixing with a cookie dough and a buttery chocolate kind of a thing going on. Scent notes you wouldn't think would jive that well together, and yet, if you find exactly the right ones, they just go click, click, click.
Which is so funny because I know the initial idea from this was much more of a gourmandy thing.
Right.
But if I hadn't read a scent note list and I just took a whiff of this, my brain does not go right away to a gourmand at all.
Right.
It just sets the vibe and that kind of energy of having cookies on the counter for Santa. All the little things are there.
And the other thing for me is I really wanted this to be lactonic between Space Nog and Noggin on Heaven's Door. Something about the Christmas season has me in a creamy mood. True. And y'all, when I suggested that the lactonic be present in the cold milk, his hat blew off and he was like, I'm all about that. Maybe even a menthol version with the ice in the milk.
Right, an ice coffee.
Oh, so I love that the lactonic is there in the blend, but it's not enough to make this lactonic forward. So it's almost like that creaminess is adding to the sweetness by just being itself, which is what I love about this. Now, how do you sense the evergreen? Because the evergreen can very often be Elvis singing in a phone booth. It can very often be a very big scent, but I don't find it that way here. How do you find it sitting?
You know, actually, you just mentioned the lactonic, and I think that's the perfect kind of part in the middle that for me, I get the evergreen at the end.
Right.
That's how it gives me a season to it. But kind of the leather and suede are on the other side. And then the more cookie, hot chocolatey side is on the other side. So I think the lactonic is like the perfect part to have everything mixed together and meld. So it's just the right amount of evergreen. We've had a lot of soaps this season that have it, but somehow it calms it down with the lactonic, almost like if there was snow covering the tree.
Right.
It's not too potent, but it's there just enough to give you that season or time of year.
So if I were to say, what scent note is this forward? You know what's cool is my brain goes, oh, and as soon as I pick it, it shifts. And I go, oh, no, wait, it's this. And then as soon as I'm about to say, oh, it's not. It's this again. And there is such movement in this. Can you name a forward scent note in this?
My brain almost interprets it as like a powdered sugar. Like it's the lactonic meets the cookie or something in there.
Right.
That stays consistent for me. So I think that's what I would say is in there. But as soon as you find that scent, then the other stuff around it is like, no. That's not the only thing in this room.
You know what's interesting about this too, y'all? We have put this under some serious noses. And the females we send this to get a little bit of the almond and the buttercream that almost turns cherry. The guys get more of the leather and the evergreen. So there is some kind of battle of the sexes going on here with this scent. But I get mostly the evergreen and the leather lather, then the cookies and milk, they're there, but they're not
Right.
like the first thing that greets me. For me, it's almost like walking in the room.
Yes.
So the first thing I'd get is the Christmas tree and the smoke. And then as I get closer to the cookies and milk, then I start to sense those, which is why the Lactonic is sitting so beautifully in the middle of this, right? Now, what was the floral you were getting?
So I think that was because sometimes we have the question, is it more masculine, more feminine, more a vibe? So for me, if I smell it just quickly, I feel like there's something white, like a white floral or something that's just adding that prettiness factor. Like you can wear this all dressed up. You can also wear this in your PJs. Like it's a very crowd pleasing on our scale scent.
Oh, where would you put this on our crowd pleasing scale,
I mean,
right?
not being biased because clearly we had a little bit of a thumbprint in this, but I really do think it's very crowd pleasing. There's nothing pokey in here. There's nothing that's too overpowering in the scent.
Right. And y'all, Douglas Lane has done an absolutely incredible job at crafting his version 1 base. We have been testers for him in the last few months. Every single one we try is somehow an improvement over his previous versions, and I want you to see how this goes into the ridges of this bowl. Y'all, it's just got the consistency of warm bubble gum, and it is perfect to push into those ridges like you're trying to smear chocolate into carpet.
And he makes it with his own tallow from the farm where they're located.
Right. I think he's the only one I know of that actually uses their farm's tallow, because even Sterling sources it out.
Right. And even Moon Soaps has kind of the butcher kind of thing, I think, don't it?
Yeah, Moonsubs even needed too much tallow than Zach could get at work, and they have to get it somewhere else. And to go with our Admiral Bowl, I chose the ocean blue of the Phantom Aerolite, my new brush from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. So y'all, here's how we do our lathering here in the Barbershop Duet. We're just going to bloom the soap laterally and let the water run down to the bottom of this gorgeous bowl. And then I'm going to just take that slightly damp soap and start bringing it onto the bristles of the brush. I'm going to go forwards, backwards, push down, little backbone going on, and then...
smelling things.
I know. The patented Barbershop Duet brush spin, 25%. And actually, if the brush is crafted like this, it's kind of easier. It's got these
the
little ridges on the
notches,
handle.
yeah.
Right, and keep track. So then forwards, backwards again, and now a spirograph pattern starts to appear in the bottom of the bowl. And then turn the brush again, forwards, backwards, and by now, most of that soap is going to have made its way onto the bristles of the brush. And now comes the dangerous part for the dog. You're going to go down here and sop up that water onto your brush. And then, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, you are now ready for the best face or leg lather of your life, or you're about to work miracles in this bowl. So here we go.
Did you grow up reading 'Twas the Night Before Christmas every...
I did. We had an antique version of it that would sit in our living room. And every year my mom would grab it at some point. It wasn't anything too ceremonious,
Right.
but she'd read through it for us. So y'all, one of the greatest conversations going on right now in the back rooms of the wet shaving hobby is, have you tried the new base from Doug Lane yet? This is creating absolute shockwaves, y'all, and I'm going to show you why. This coats and covers the face just as well as the top 5 bases in our den. It is an absolute miracle. And look at this. It's going on a dry face.
Marcus made sure not to shave yet so he could use this later.
Right? I
So-
should shave on the show. Y'all, look at that. And would you like to put a little
I
on yours
would. I want to
as
test this
well?
out. Oh, this is a nice brush. I haven't used your brush yet.
Y'all, unbelievable the way this feels.
Super slick and super protective.
Right.
I'm getting more cookie here.
I am too.
I'm a little more of the spice of the cookie. Maybe the chocolate and the chocolate milk.
I forgot to ask him, when you are perfuming it, do you start with the lather or do you smell the base? Because I
Right.
bet you this is where all the mysteries and wonders are hiding. But we might know a little better when we look at the scent notes. All right, y'all, so here are the list of actual scent notes used by Adopted Acres.
Top notes of cookies and milk and hot cocoa.
Love that. And I think the hot cocoa was actually helping to bolster a little bit of that scent of the chocolate inside the chocolate chips of the cookies.
Right.
So perfect. Heart notes of...
Frosted fur and balsam fur.
And I think this is what gives a little bit of a sense of lustre midday of objects below, of like the snowfall outside.
Right.
And,
It's that charming side of a tree somehow.
And we kind of talked about making it a Christmas tree that smelled like a Christmas tree from the 50s. So I don't know exactly how he so perfectly captured that.
It's magic.
But I'm smelling the Christmas tree from Christmas Story. That one where it's snowing outside and they're kind of cuddled up drinking their wine on Christmas night. That's the picture I get from that. Almost like seeing a vintage radio next to it, right? And then finally, our base notes of...
Leather, burnt embers.
That is a little bit of a signature of Adopted Acres, is a wisp of smoke. But y'all, if you ever spent time on a farm or a ranch, you know that that wisp of smoke is ubiquitous. ubiquitous, both in the ranch house and outside. So here was the thinking behind this. We wanted to create a vibe of waiting up for Santa Claus and probably falling asleep in the attempt. So it starts with the cookies and milk that you give to Santa
Set 'em all
Claus.
up, yeah.
Right, and then next to the Christmas tree, of course.
And we made sure to put the fire out so Santa won't burn himself coming down the chimney. But you do smell those burnt embers.
And then where are you? Why, you're in your grandpa's favorite chair because you don't have Christmas at your house. You have it at the grandparents' house in your little, so you'd cuddle up in grandpa's big Barco lounger and cover yourself with a flannel blanket. And those qualities are in here too. So the entire vibe of just waiting up for Santa Claus, keeping your eye on that fireplace and wondering if you could sneak a bite of those cookies and milk. And I think he might even put a little menthol in it as the ice in the milk if you so desire. I'm not sure, but stay tuned for mysteries and wonders. I know. And are there any other scent notes hiding in this? I wonder, or if these are the primary ones.
I think these are the ones that he wants us to know, but there's something in there that just adds that like magic little charming part. I still don't know exactly what it is. Like my brain was searching for maybe an almost floral thing, but there's other magic behind the scenes, which every perfumer should keep to themselves.
Right.
It's okay.
I don't think it's just these things, but also I love that he's sort of developing an olfactory signature that when you are starting to smell his original scents at Adopted Acres, they're all very different, but you kind of know. Ooh, just the balance and sophistication in this is something special. So I love that we were kind of invited to be one of the first collaborators for Adopted Acres, and we even have one more idea coming from Summer, but we'll contain ourselves on that. So, y'all, why don't we take this down a little bit deeper and see if there are a few last Christmas decorations hiding in the basement.
I think what I enjoyed most was how you could take a picture in mind and how he could bring it to fruition through scent. Like it just paints a picture literally like by scent versus just visually.
Yeah, let me be very clear, y'all. We did very little. This was one 15-minute phone call. We were just kind of batting these ideas around, and the next thing we know, this arrived in the mail. That's the kind of guy Doug is. No dilly-dallying. And I do. It's exactly what you said. He was able to take an idea from my imagination and much like a painter or a sculptor, make it real with scent. And in a way that absolutely fulfills my initial idea, but goes so much further out of the ballpark with this that I can't even see straight.
And the more we talk to him, we're like, it is not just a Christmas scent. I feel like it's a good winter scent.
That's it. It's just the smell of a happy home. And yes, of course, it has a little bit of evergreen. Yes, of course, it has some cookies and milk. But who doesn't like to start there? That's my breakfast on Wednesday.
Right? And I feel like if you're homesick for the holidays, this is a scent that could just bring that little comfort to you somehow.
Right. And Mr. Lane was kind enough to send us the EDP so we could get a sense of the actual fragrance in its truest form. Why don't you put it on, see what you get.
This is our little sample guy here. I might get some on the dog. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Oh, I'm already getting whiffs.
Right? Just come out here.
I just want to revel in the scent for a moment. It just paints that like content, happy holiday charm. I think what you were asking me earlier is still there. Like I want to say it starts with the sweeter, goes to lactonic, and then it puts you in the chair, and then you smell the tree. Is like kind of my flow of things.
Y'all, for about 6 months, we made our own candles. We would buy scents from catalogs.
We tried.
And things. Let me tell you, we put a Christmas scent together, and it was a little stereotypical. Well, it was a lot stereotypical, and it smelled like a candle wick being blown out. And I'm like, wait a minute, we added 9 different scent notes to this, but it still just smells like a candle?
Yeah.
I bring you such glad tidings of great joy. Imagine that scent. Imagine the Yankee Candle Christmas scent. We there? You got it?
Yeah.
Now, go as far as you can in the other direction while keeping it Christmas. It's light, it's balanced, it's sweet, it's alluring, it's real, but it's artistic. It's in front of you, but it's whimsical. It's a vibe, but it's a personality. And you know, it's not the smell of Santa, but for me, this is absolutely that smell of Christmas excitement, of waiting up for magic in this world and being pretty sure you're going to find it somehow. That is what he's captured.
It's kind of like your sweatshirt. That just like you believe in the spirit of the holiday, you know?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think he's real, but I think if enough people believe in something, something magic does happen. Oh, do you smell the evergreen in the EDP now a little bit differently? It's so
smell
beautiful.
the dry down here because it's the 2 furs. They're both there.
That's the floral. I bet you the frosted fir is a floral.
It has something
that's
sweeter.
how they did the frosting.
Yeah, but how it dries down, like I get the actual more tree balsam side.
Right.
And then that fur happening, a little sweeter, just like the needles themselves somehow.
And y'all, let us introduce you briefly to the philosophy of Adopted Acres. The reason that it's called that is because Doug Lane and his wife have adopted their children. And with one exception, they all have special needs, ranging from cerebral palsy to Down syndrome. And the mission of their family is to create a sustainable, artistic business that someday the kids can pick up on their own and continue the tradition. After all, he told us today the farm has been in the family for 5 or 6 generations. Makes perfect sense to me.
I love that mission statement comes through. Like there's something about having these children that they've grown up in their household.
Right.
And that thumbprint of that childlike view is still on the scent somehow. And I love that.
Right, me too. And I love that they named it Adopted Acres so that their mission statement is right there in the name. And we have smelled a few nooks and crannies, twists and turns that do come from some of their noses. And they are amazing. They smell every EDP Doug does. And we are so excited for them to have their own very first soaps as well. So it's pretty simple. Y'all just be on the phone with Doug on a Thursday afternoon like you usually are, and you're going to start batting around some fun ideas for a brand new Christmas scent. And well, 3 or 4 days later, when Sarah's mom calls and says you better come pick up this package, it smells like you're waiting for Santa Claus. We got our own! After the first of the year, search Etsy for Adopted Acres Soap Co. to find the inaugural lineup. Well, I've had my shave, y'all, which was the night before Christmas. And I remember when Doug Lane sent me his very first base, I was still pretty new to things, and I was a little scared to shave with it, but I did. And I went, whoa. I can tell this is everything that I love about shaving soaps, but with a little bit more of a luxurious quality to it, as if those expensive ingredients were bumped up a little on the ingredient list. And as he progressed to this base, I started watching people's faces when they would talk about it. Y'all, there is something special in this formula, and I think it's because he built it from the ground up, based on what a 2-time-a-day shaver really wants in a formula. Y'all are doing everything right, Mr. Lane and family, and we so appreciate being a small part of the work you did on this soap. I love it. Welcome to Messages.
So for our January giveaway, since that is the starting point for Adopted Acres, we wanted to give you a chance to win any of their soaps.
That's right, y'all. Any soap of your choosing from their entire inaugural lineup, and ours will be available too if you'd like to choose that. All you have to do to be eligible for this giveaway is send an email here to WeSentYou@theBarbershopDuet.com, and then check back here the first week of February to see if you are our lucky winner.
Best of luck.
So y'all, thank you so much for spending this time with us here this holiday season. Yes. And we thought that we would end our holiday episodes with the poem that started it all. Yeah. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh, and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher and Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all, as leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they met up that obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then with a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his sack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples so merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings and turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he rode out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all!" And to all a good night.
Don't forget your next poem with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching.